Okay, we're gonna continue on the second part in the series of greed as a cause of a stress that prevents us from going us to samadhi. So, greed, I'm gonna recapture some of the things that we highlighted basically. I'm gonna highlight from the last lecture, and then we're gonna present some more few points to finish up the discussion on the greed. So, we talked about that greed is a desire to obtain something. And when you have a desire to obtain something, that means you feel that you don't have something. And that lack, that understanding that you're lacking something, the dissatisfaction of whatever you have, is the initial step. And that is always in comparison with somebody else. That he has this, she has this, and I don't have this. So that feeling of dissatisfaction is the mother of generation for the greed. So your belief in the matter, the material part of the life, is the cause, root cause of the problem. And the job of the spirituality is to make you realize that your belief in the matter is a dream, is a foolishness.
It's phony.
Is phony. There is nothing like, there is no reality to the material world. And yet we can go on arguing all the time, but my five senses say that. But senses can fool you. Senses make you think that it's real. It's an illusion that we're living in. So somehow we are made to believe all these things. And that's all we believe. Whatever we see, we believe it. And the job of the spirituality is to make you realize with the arguments and make you rise above the belief in the materialism. Until that happens, we're going to keep playing this dream. And that's all there is. It is a dream. Yes?
See, one of the jnanis, who was preaching, he said people run from one temple to the other all over.
Right.
But they don't realize what they have is enough. They should get
It's
into
more than enough, yeah.
Into their
It's
own, whatever
exactly.
they have to think about.
What we have inside is the infinite source of pleasure.
That's what he said, people run from here to there
Right.
all day. But what they have, they forget that they have everything already in it.
Because the thing is that the whole problem with this thing is a belief that by doing something you will achieve something. And that's a wrong belief. And when that belief is held on to, obviously people will say the more efforts I put in, the more I will get.
Reward.
And the more I'll be richer or more I'll be happier, more doership is a foolishness. And that's the bottom line. And we don't realize that. We become more and more doer. Instead of being a doer, if we start learning how to become an observer, first of all your efforts are gone. All your anxieties of doing the efforts, achieving the goals, all these things is gone. And in fact, a lot of times by just being a doer, you actually get the same results that you had intended to do by becoming a doer. A lot of things just fall in its own place. And sometimes it takes a week, sometimes it takes a month, sometimes it takes a year, but things happen on their own. Because the consciousness is at play. Every single person has their own vrittis and vasanas to play out. How many times you're going to be able to make a change in those vrittis and vasanas? Just by being an observer. And when I say observer, not being a lazy. And it's like an extreme. You can say, okay, I don't want to interfere with my son's life or my child's life and do this and do that and let him get an impression that he's a grumpy old guy telling me what to do. Versus, no, I don't care whatever. He come home, drugs, alcohol, I don't care because I'm not a doer.
Yeah,
I'm just
I'm
an
an observer.
But you have to realize that there is a difference between an observer and a non-doer. It's not a question of non-doership. By being an observer, you are still being a doer, but not actually being a doer. So there is a big difference. It's like a mother, say, interfere with every single thing that the child does. Till he's 16, 18, 20, 30 year old. Even after he's married, she keeps on interfering. You do this and that. The role of mother should start becoming, but her love for the child should never disappear. So that love should keep the flame alive of being a mother. So if you're a father, that doesn't mean that you don't be a father. That always stays on your mind, that his safety or something is always in mind. So Paramatma has created this world, but he has not disappeared from the world. It's not that, okay, now you're on your own. He gives us the freedom. He gives us the freedom to lie, to cheat, be greedy, whatever. But whenever you turn back, he's always there.
Right.
Every corner, you turn around, you close your eyes, he's always there.
He's there. Right.
So, being a doer, meaning you are actively involved in the process with the true love. If I see my son, I want his happiness, I'm continuously watching what he's doing. I'm not backing off. But with the care and with the same love. And yet at the same time, I'm going to give him a freedom of making his own decisions. And if I don't let him make his own decisions, he will never grow up.
Right.
Then he will be dependent. Next time he has to make any decision, he's going to run up to me. Say, Dad, what should I do now?
Right.
No, I want him to learn, experience and everything. And then only I'm being a good father. So that way.
You're teaching him.
Exactly. And I want his consciousness to grow also. His mind to develop also. So that's what I'm talking about, right? So being a non-doer does not mean you backing off. So the thing is that with the assumption that we are a doer is a wrong thing. And a lot of places we can back off. But some places you want to be a doer. You want to be a doer to learn how to be a non-doer. So that's where you need the efforts. You need to meditate and you have to realize your full potential. There is a lot of doership needed there, but it's all within, not without.
Right. It's not material. It's just
Exactly, it's a spiritual. So all the frustrations which come with the greed and the journey to achieve something, all this will disappear. Anxiety, the fear, and even after you achieve something, you hold on to that. And yet people go on till the last days of their life to achieve more and more and more and more. And then what? They never think about all these things. And that's what we talked about, Buddha and the beggar. The beggar is still trying to achieve and achieve and achieve. He has achieved this much. And Buddha already had everything. He has given up. He has realized that achieving more and more, there is no end. So he's returning back. And they both meet in the middle of the ladder. Buddha is descending. Beggar is ascending. They're both standing next to each other. But with totally different set of frame of mind.
Right.
So the frame of mind is what decides. Yes?
Is there any age when you achieve that, whatever?
Age has nothing to do with that.
Okay.
You can have wisdom
No,
at the
like
age of
Buddha,
5,
you know.
or you may not have wisdom till 70 or 80 or never.
No, like Buddha, he achieves when you are...
Well, he was married, he had a son, and then he achieved that wisdom, that okay, this is not for me. This is not going to take me anywhere. So, Gita says, Krishna says, it's like a bird sitting in your mind. When it's going to open up, nobody knows. It may open up at age of 5, 15, or never. So it's up to us what we want to do. So that bird has to open up. The wisdom has to come. I have seen people 70, 80s fighting like a 10-year-old kid to achieve something. I mean, last few years back, we went to Chalo Gujarat, right? All that Gujarati function. Also a huge crowd. The whole crowd was about, they were giving out one canvas bag
Right.
to whoever wants it.
Right.
These are all people from US. They had tons and tons of canvas bags in their home, like anything. But because it was free, they were like fighting and thrashing and this and that. And I said, this is crazy, right?
Right.
I mean, what extra canvas is going to do in their life? Nothing. But they don't think.
Yeah.
The wisdom is just not
It's
there.
like they just want to have it.
Right, that's it.
It's free.
It must have some attachment to it. Where it
Attachment
came
is to
from,
hold on
where
to
it
the
came
things.
from.
Yeah.
The
I know.
holding, they think, is going to make them give you more satisfaction somehow to own more things. Not realizing that the own has not been even touched in years. So it's silliness.
Yeah.
So that wisdom has to come. And I always talked about that example of the fox, the lonkadi, in the morning wants to go for a breakfast. And he sees the shadow. And because the sun is rising, the shadow is so huge. So lonkadi thinks, the fox thinks, that I have to kill a big camel today. Because I am so big. Look at this. All he realized, yes, there is no mirror to see how tiny he is, but he sees just a shadow. So he thinks that this is how the youth think, that they can move the mountains.
Right.
Is that they have so much energy.
They have to move the mountains.
They have to move the mountains. They have to have big dreams.
They look for
They
a
have to
mountain to
be.
move.
They have to match what Bill Gates made in his lifetime. I have to have more this and that, all that. So Lonkadi thinks that he's so big, so he has to kill a camel today, and he goes and on and on and on. Finds a camel. I don't know how to achieve that, this and that. It comes. The sun comes midnight in the middle of the sky. Now the shadow has gotten so tiny, can hardly see shadow. Now he realized that I cannot be that big anymore. So maybe I'll catch a mouse or something and I'll be fine. So that wisdom was not there. But wisdom, not having a wisdom at the age of young age is still pardonable. But once you become mature physically and you are getting older, at least that wisdom has to come. Should come.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. People's appetite for accumulating things is still so high.
You get involved
They
more
never
in it.
turn away from this rat race. They never go away till they die. And they always find new things to do. Once you have money, they want fame, they want this. I have enough now, I have to set up my grandson to fix his life, this and that. So they are intervening at every facet of life, think that they can do things. People have never achieved anything. So that wisdom is the sprout, the bean that has sprouted, and that sprout has to turn into big, beautiful spiritual, tree that we can enjoy. It's a kalpavruksha that we can enjoy the fruits of that tree. But that little sprout has to come. And then what does it do for you? It gives you so much freedom and so much relaxation and so much peace to enjoy what you have and enjoy the present moment. And that wisdom has to come.
Yeah, as to actually to answer your question about when it happens, according to our culture, we are born with sanskara. A sanskara is a result of the previous lives. So you evolve over so many lives. So that's the reason some kids, they are born with a sanskara and they achieve their goal at the age of 5. And other people at 85, they are still struggling.
Agreed. The only caveat to that problem is that once the Shastra teach you all these things about the past karmas and all these things, people become lazy. Say, well, my sanskara has not come up yet. So I will wait.
Right.
Meanwhile, let me just finish up my...
Right. Now, our goal is to continue our progress
Agree.
from where we left off
Agree.
last time.
So the more practical way of thinking is forget about all these things. What you want to do now.
Right.
And the only way you're going to be able to realize the futility is by meditating. That's an active process that you can do.
Right.
And in the meditation, you become an observer and you start realizing, what am I doing? All these things that do all these efforts to accumulate all these things, what does it do? So that reflection is dharma.
Yeah.
Forget about karmas, forget about future, this and that and all that. Then your mind becomes more meddled with thinking about all these things, and then, oh, I have so many karmas, I have so many yonis, I have to go through this and that, and then how many sins I must have accumulated.
Right.
Forget about all these
Right.
things.
No, we
Just
don't keep
focus
the
on the
account.
awareness.
Somebody else keeps the accounts. So,
Exactly,
right.
that's what it is. Non-doer.
Is it not what he said, past? We are supposed to forget and start
Exactly.
with a clean slate.
That's what I'm
But
saying.
He said it doesn't
That's what I'm saying.
give any solution to
But
when
Shastra said all these things only to give you consolation. The only idea was not to think about your past karmas all the time.
Right.
That
Go
was
forward.
only meant to give you consolation. If you're going through suffering, it must have. But all thing you have to do is, I might have bad karmas, let me get over it. But if you start making a big account of your old karmas, and then it becomes a big exercise. So far, you were doing all your books in the business. Now you are waving the books of punyas.
Punyas.
What is the difference?
Punyas.
All this time you are maintaining all your black books and white books and all these things to achieve certain goal. Now you're using the same technology for your, spiritual life. Oh, these are my bad karmas, these are my good karmas. Now I have to have a balance sheet. Your balance sheet never disappears.
Right.
You're always a doer. That's where the mistake is. So the interpretation of scriptures is also very important.
Right.
So the greed, the best thing that comes out of this lecture is to realize that greed brings you the results. Whether it's good or bad, it's your state of mind. So when you have a greed and you achieved certain goal, you accumulated certain money, or you achieved certain fame, or you achieved some girlfriend or whatever, how long is it going to last? Is it going to bring you the happiness or not? The happiness that is generated from the goals achieved by the greed is also material. So the happiness that is created by the material action is also going to follow the rules of materialism: birth, growth, decay, and death. So pleasure achieved from material objects, material goals, material people, material accumulations is always going to be finite. So the time when you realize that whatever is within the material cannot be infinite, because material keeps on changing. And whatever is changing, how can it give you a long-lasting permanent happiness? So if your goal is to have a long-lasting permanent happiness, which I call nirvana, you will never get there. So in material life, the doership is always play around with matter, will never bring you the infinite results. So even if you get happiness through any actions in the matter, you have to realize that even that happiness is limited. And once you realize that, then you realize that your path into the direction that you're taking is wrong. So the goal of materialism, goal of spirituality is to make you realize right now your focus is on the path and the goal, but the meditation will change that concept. The spirituality teaches you to fix your goal on the traveler himself. You. Who is this traveler? What has been doing? What he has been trying to achieve? What direction he is going? That's all you have to do. Forget about material things outside and just focus on who is that entity. You close your eyes and you go within yourself. What is that entity which is full of power, full of consciousness, full of energy? Why is it going in all these directions? And what he has achieved, he, she, whatever, there is no name, there is a formless thing. Just tremendous source of energy. Just focus on that. And that is your existence. Just focus on existence only, and then you realize that existence keep on expanding. It's much bigger than the tiny body that you have. And it's much bigger and keeps getting bigger and bigger. And you realize that I have so much more. So your focus is on the traveler himself, not the path, not the journey, not the goal, because all these things are useless. And then you realize the source of energy, source of pleasure, the bliss starts flowing. And then you become so self-sufficient, and knowing that you yourself are sufficient to entertain. What else do I have to achieve? I'm so happy. That happiness starts flowing. But you need patience for that. And that's the goal of spirituality, to forget about the path. Because all these paths we have taken has not taken us anywhere. So all these many lives that we have spent, must have done Chardham Jatras in the past also several times.
Right.
What has it achieved? Did it achieve this time? No. Are we a different person after doing all these yatras or going to these temples? Are we any different? No. Then think again. So we think that we are growing by doing certain things, or we are achieving certain goals, and we are not growing anywhere. Have we really become a happier person? A person with a total peace, total bliss in the heart? No. The existence is the only goal, and in its pure form. Does the flower know it is beautiful? No. Flower is flower.
Flower is. That's
Flower
it.
is.
Yeah.
There is a big party going on of isness. This is consciousness. Is a big party. You are
Right.
not invited. You are here. You just have to realize that.
Flower has its own nature.
Right.
That's it.
If you want, the meditation is the limo that will take you there. The limo will take you in the party of existence.
Right.
Right? The only thing is you have to forget what you are. You are here to enjoy.
Right.
You give up your ego. If you are invited to a host party, are you going to go and show off over there? The host is throwing everything for you.
Right.
The food is prepared
Right.
in its existential form.
Right.
There is apples, there is carrots, there is
Right.
all the fresh fruits, vegetables, beautiful strawberries and everything. They are flowing in its existential form. Are you going to go to a party and says, no, Shakuben, what you have done is not good. Let me give you my recipe. No, you don't want to change anything. Come on, have a respect
You enjoy,
for the host.
yeah.
You are here to enjoy whatever you have.
Right.
Don't throw your ideas.
Right.
Because your ideas is anti-isness, anti-existence. You think that you can do better than existence. This is a big party flowing, existence. And you are here with just enjoyment. You may have a different masks on your face.
Yeah.
But that's all there is. But you're not going to push around, shovel around, and throw your egos around and all that. There is a big sharab is flowing.
Right.
But you're not going to enjoy it if you hold on to your ego. So it's Madhushala. Rajneesh says that there is a Madhushala everywhere. It's a bar.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
the bars are open. He says temples close down.
Right.
Bars never close down.
Right.
Bars is where people have pleasure.
Right.
This existence is throwing sharab everywhere.
Right.
And people, even in the middle of all this unhappy world, they have found peace. People come, and these madhushalas will never close. They're perpetually open. You just have to be a part of it. You enjoy. The only time you can enjoy is give up the doership, close your eyes, and just exist. That existence is beautiful. So, do not have the ego around. Do not think that you're going to achieve anything in this world. Because nobody has achieved anything. Krishna wrote such a huge Gita.
Right.
What did it do for him? Nothing. World has, if at all, deteriorated.
Right.
So-
exactly. So even after all
From the
these
time of Gita till now, what has it done? The world has not changed.
Right.
Changed for worse maybe.
Right.
But that's,
But it's trying to.
he's trying. That's all you can do. Why was Gita said? Why Krishna played his flute? Because he was content with himself. Gita just happened. He did not have Gita exposure to Arjun with the mind to change the world. No objectives were set. It just flew. It just happens. In an existential mode, the flowers just blooms and throws the fragrance around. The fragrance has no goal. There was a beautiful poem by Khalil Gibran. He was a Christian from Middle East, Lebanon, and he has written beautiful poems. One of the poem was the prophet. The prophet has lived his life, and he has given